I would like to introduce L.A. Marks.
Horizontal with Lila. Horizontal with Lila.
Hello, my horizontal lovers, my intimacy investigators, my horizontalists. Horizontal is the podcast about sex, love, and relationships of all kinds, recorded while lying down and usually while wearing robes. I'm wearing one right now. If you've listened to either one of my Between Two Wizard episodes, 85, Well-Hung Psychedelic Sex Wizard, No Hookups, or 86, You're Trying to Porn Sex Me, or my most magical recent horizontal mashup episodes, 123, This Ritual is Horizontal, or 124, This Horizontal is a Ritual, you've become acquainted with my wizard friend, Devin Person. During both of our horizontal recordings, one in person in his former wizard bed in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, and the other virtual, mediated by the magic of the interwebs between Louisville, Kentucky, and Canggu, Bali, Indonesia, a remarkable fact about his relationship surfaced. He and his partner, now fiancé, don't text, ever. It's one of their cherished relationship agreements, a social norm within the co-creation of their dyad. They just don't text. If they want to communicate with one another, they need to actually pick up the phone and dial their partner. Well, that fiancé he doesn't text with is our storyteller today. Typically on horizontal, each conversation is between 3 and 5 hours long and divided into 2 to 4 parts. The former half is available for all horizontalists everywhere, and the latter half is available exclusively to patrons of the horizontal arts. With few exceptions, our conversations are languorous and long form, as though post-coital or stargazing, or staring out onto the open road in the wee hours of a very long road trip. I consider it consensual eavesdropping. When you become a patron, you receive a key to the horizontal city, unlocking access to over 50 exclusive episodes. Become a patron of the horizontal arts by navigating directly to patreon.com/horizontalwithlila, which is spelled Patreon.com, and you must click on or type in that link directly because sex-positive creators are still in quite a bind with social media these days. You can't just go to Patreon and search my name or the name of my show because the search engine pretends all of its mature content doesn't exist. I guess that makes Patreon sort of like the boyfriend who doesn't want the world to know that we're dating. But it is still the best crowdsourcing subscription service that I know at this moment. So I take it as an indicator of just how far we still need to go to eradicate sex negativity, stigma, shame, and taboo. Usually, my Patreon tiers begin at $7 per month, but this month I've opened up 10 $5 a month spots for access to the full horizontal. 2 spots already got snagged before this announcement, so as of this recording, there are 8 spots left. Claim one, and all the horizontality shall be yours. At the end of each long-form recording, I ask my guest to tell me a story. It can be any tale that falls under the broad umbrella of intimacy. My only requirement is that they have a burning desire to share it with me. Because these stories usually take place in the part 2s or 4s of our recordings, most of you horizontalists never get to hear such tales as being carried down a mountain on the shoulders of a hunky guide, or donating your father's body to science and then insisting on a connection with the medical students who studied him, or getting married every year to the same person. Occasionally, in pre-pandemic times, I'd host horizontal storytelling pajama parties. My launch party in May of 2017 was a pajama party, and this quickie was recorded live during Pride Month in June 2019 at Horizontal Storytelling, the Summer Pride Edition. We all donned rainbow pajamas, noshed on milk and cookies, and curled up together horizontally, all 50 of us, to listen to the tales of 5 storytellers from across the LGBTQIA+ community, one after the other after the other. In this particular quickie, I lie down with Lisa Ann Markison, also known as L.A. Marks, queer, cis, femme, bisexual woman boss, founder and CEO of creative agency Ars Poetica, which provides, among other things, experiential poetic entertainment for events and happenings. Her woman-owned, inclusive, and sustainable business model celebrates the multi-talented nature of her artists across entertainment, activist, consulting, and literary landscapes. She was a co-host, along with Taz, of the National Poetry Month podcast, A Daily Dose of Poetry. I appeared on the show as their April 18th guest, and they wrote me poetic prescriptions for what ailed me in my romantic relationship. And this inspired me to give people episode prescriptions for my podcast. LA and her 35 artists have written poetry for celebrities and created a series of handmade poetic talismans to benefit Planned Parenthood. You can find her and them and their projects on the interwebs at arspoetica.us on Instagram. Come lie down with us at a pajama party in the before time at Hacienda Studio in Bushwick, Brooklyn, as LA tells us a tale entitled, In Fact, a Switch Hitter.
Everyone has a weird sex ed tale, right? It's sort of a mythology. And my culminating, my salient sex ed moment was when the cool, relatable female youth pastor at my conservative church took all of the girls of the church of a certain age into the choir room and held up 2 pieces of sticky tape in front of us all. And she put them together and then slowly, painfully tried to separate them and then stuck them back together again and then pulled them back apart. And she did this over and over again in front of us like a horror movie until finally the tape gave up and had no adhesive quality left. And she said, and this is what the sexual bond is like.
What?
You get one chance to stick, and if you try to unstick and then restick yourself, you're never going to be able to recreate that original stick. And I'm a visual learner, so I said sold. I got it. Abstinence until I find my one sticky. But, I was 14 at that point and had already had some feelings. And so it was already a little bit of a sticky situation for me by that point.
Or unsticky, as the case may be.
Yeah, God. So I related to so many little tidbits from the first 2 stories. My first actual sexual memory is being a kindergartner, playing dress up with the neighbor girl who was a couple years older than me. We would spend a ton of time hiding out in her garage, just playing with toys and dressing up. And her parents were even more conservative and religious than mine, so you can only imagine. And we would build ourselves sort of like mini yurts out of blankets and finger ourselves and just giggle and just relish in the sort of naughty, delightful sensations that we were creating. And I didn't even really think I knew it was bad, but I knew it was a secret because she made sure that I knew it had to be a secret, So, so it was a good time in kindergarten, and but then I come into primary school and I'm just a complete tomboy. It's boys versus girls on the playground, and I'm with the boys throwing walnuts at the girls and calling them gross. And if a boy has a crush on me, I'm like, you suck, and totally just rebuking any boy who comes across my path. I get a little older. I finally make friends with some girls. They happen to be all of the goody two-shoes, perfect little femme girls from the church I go to. And sure enough, puberty is coming, and they're all talking about the boys they like. And I've got nothing. I don't like them. They're not interesting to me. I'm really into, like swimming and softball. I'm a left-handed batter, and I'm into like academics and like jokes and Monty Python, and so they're like talking about their first kisses, and I'm like, oh yeah, there was this boy at summer school that tried to kiss me. And yeah, I didn't really like it, but that's what happened. That was my first kiss. Total lie. Just made it up. Just complete bullshit. Did they believe me? They acted like they did. The worst, though, in trying to pretend that I liked boys was when I decided on one guy, freshman year of high school, who was really into the Beatles. That was like what everyone knew him for. He was like this alternative music guy. And this is like, our memories, they fade. And so I bought a Beatles t-shirt and started wearing it to school because I thought that was like the way that, what do you call them? The allosexuals? I thought this is the way that the normative way to display your affection for someone was to wear a shirt of the band they like.
This is the way the natives do it.
Yes. And he comes up in front of me, in front of like a dozen people. He's like, what is even your favorite Beatles album? And I'm wearing an Abbey Road shirt. Like, I know that now. And I was like, I got nothing for you, man. And at that point, I was like, well, the game is up. I'm not gonna even try to fake it, until I find a nice sticky one. I'm just gonna put my head down in my book and be friends with my girlfriends. Enjoy sleepovers, enjoy girl culture as much as I can force myself to. So sleepovers become really big in high school, and we just love to paint our nails and eat snacks late at night and drink like, did anyone else drink like 1,000 sodas every night when you had a sleepover? Like, how do we drink so many sodas? Like, why do I still have teeth? And none of these things are on my notes at all, by the way. So we're drinking a lot of sodas, and finally I make a couple friends who are not just in my church group. A couple girls that are more into sports, more into math and science, a little more substance to them than just, highlights and manicures. And one girl in particular really stood out to me. She was a kind of like mean bully sort. She was like not the captain of the water polo team. She was Chinese by immigrant parents. They were kind of really intense. So she was like really into school and really into sports, and so funny. Like she was a breath of fresh air with my kind of conservative, whatever this is, group of friends. One day we went to the bathroom at lunch, and I don't know how or why this even came up. There was no one else in the bathroom. It was one of those like weird avocado green bathrooms with like the stalls, and she just shoves me up against the stall and is like putting her hands all over my body and just like holding me there with this intense water polo bitch energy. And she looks me in the eye and she whispers in my ear, "I'm gonna fuck you." Yeah, that's what I said. And I was like melting here and like exploding here, and I felt like my face was like in a fire. I felt like this unbelievable energy just over my whole torso. It was like 5, 5, 5, 5. And I was like, oh shit, is this what it's like to find some sticky tape? And so from that moment on, I was just totally devoted to her. We were essentially in a secret relationship for 2 years. I was all about her. I was always sending her these notes about how I wanted to come out of the closet and damn our families and damn the church and like damn all the weird kids in school that were going to think we were out of the norm. And she was very hot and cold. She was super, super scared of her family. She was mean too. I think she was just a mean person, and she liked to kind of like fuck with my mind. We would have all these friendly sleepovers with our group of friends, and we would situate our sleeping bags next to each other, and when everyone else fell asleep, she would like unzip the sleeping bags and we would like do stuff to each other, like silently in the dead of night, you know, like, but then like one Friday she would be like fingering me at 3 a.m. with like holding her hand over my mouth. And then like the next Friday she would be like, don't touch me, I'm not gay. And I would be like, what the fuck, bitch? It was very confusing. And finally, she became more and more erratic, and it was giving me more and more mixed signals. And she cut things off when I was ready to, you know, blow the lid off the whole thing. And it was right before senior prom, and I was just so sick of it all. I was like, get me to San Francisco where I can have my lesbutante ball, you know, like I cannot handle this anymore. I've never liked a guy. I'm so sick of faking it. I got my friend to find me like a random dude to take me to prom just so I could like show my parents that I like knew a man. It was it's like so pathetic. And like, why was I trying to? Anyway, I moved to San Francisco. Oh, I remember driving through the Castro and just like seeing the rainbow flags and just being like, I'm home, you know? And so it's, you know, we're dorm style living. Every night's a sleepover. It's a whole floor full of girls. Who am I going to fall in love with? Who's going to be my new best friend? Who's going to be my gay best friend? Who's going to go to the gay clubs with me? I'm just so ready. My roommate, Lizzie, is super cool and weird and nerdy like me. I'm like, are you gay? Oh, man, I don't know. You know, and then I make friends with this great girl, Monica. She's Mexican. Her whole family lives in the south of the city. She invites us all to come down to her birthday party. I'm like, yeah, birthday party. Mexican lesbians, let's do this. And we're dancing, we're having tequila, we're 18 years old, but in Mexican families it's totally fine to feed your 18-year-olds tequila at their birthday, no problem. And everyone's drunk, everyone's dancing salsa. I'm apparently good at salsa. Her cousin Anthony is this like super sultry like salsa guy who's like teaching all of us gringas how to dance salsa. It's so fun. And at the end of the night, he grabs me by the shoulders and he looks me in the eyes and he says, I want to take you out on a date. And I felt like the same feeling as when Lauren had basically molested me in the bathroom back when I was 15 years old. And I'm like, well, that's not the San Francisco surprise I was looking for, but okay, I'll go on a date with this sultry Mexican salsa dancer, sure, but on the DL, you know, like I don't want to mess up my new
street cred.
I have this like brand new license, you know,
right?
Get like a dog ear on it. So we go on a couple of kind of like secretive dates, and I'm getting curious. I'm like, okay, kissing a guy is the same as kissing a girl, save like a couple little stubbles or whatever, but it's basically the same idea. But I know there's some other stuff that's different. Like some other stuff that's different.
Some lower
So
stuff.
I created some sort of elaborate excuse for Lizzie, my roommate, to give me the dorm room to myself for the evening. I invite Anthony over. We're kissing. This is something I can handle. We're doing some heavy petting. Okay, I'm fine. He wants to finger me. And I realize all of a sudden I'm like, what are man hands? Like are they like dirty and big and like what is he gonna like know what to do? It's a very sensitive region. So I'm like, okay, just like a little bit, you know. And so he starts fingering me, and turns out sometimes, I don't want to be a size queen here, but sometimes bigger is better with the insertion qualities of a larger hand.
Digit.
A digit. He was digitally superior to Lauren. So I'm having my G-spot stimulated for the first time, essentially. Like, it had all been clipped before that. And I have an awesome orgasm. And I'm like, okay, new state of mind. I want to see it. I want to see a dick. And up until then, I had been kind of like, just going like, on like his jeans, and it was getting like really bulgy in there. And it just was, it was almost a state where I was concerned it seemed that there was a pressure building. So I sort of, look him in the eye and look down, and he gives me permission non-verbally to unzip his pants. And it's like, just like they had said in Cosmo magazine, it's like the thing just wing right out of there. So I think he must have seen my face when I saw it, wing out. I think he realized, like, okay, this is a real level 0 situation. So he gave me this like loving, gentlemanly tutorial. How hard to hold it? No, that was too hard. Okay, less hard. How to not like jerk it around to like rip all the skin off, And I'm amazed because it's so hard, like on the inside, but the skin on the outside is like super soft, like a vagina. It's almost like a vagina wrapped around a pole. And I'm just like feeling my own energetic cock right now while I'm talking about this. And so I'm like, okay, I think I get this now. I want to eat it. So I want to put it in my mouth, and so he's again so obliging, lets me put it in my mouth. The floor of the dorm room, by the way, is extremely scratchy carpet, just terrible texture for this type of thing. But so I'm up and down, I'm twisting. He shows me this thing where you can kind of like go up, but then you're turning your head, and then I'm like kind of like doing the hand and the mouth
in opposite directions.
In opposite directions, so it creates this kind of cool like friction, like a candy cane. I don't even know what the equivalent would be for a vagina, honestly. So we can talk about it later, everyone.
Okay. Great.
And suddenly I'm realizing I might actually see a male orgasm for the first time in my life. I'd never even seen this in the movies, It's like all I had access to was like European homoerotic films from Blockbuster. So this is like, I didn't have a family with it that owned a porn store when I was a kid. And
a video store.
So I'm like, okay, I want to create my own sticky situation here, a totally new type. I'm feeling it. He's squirming in the same exact way that Lauren and I used to squirm. So I know that something's about to happen. It's like something. This is it. The fireworks, right? And I'm like up and down, and the fucking dorm room door opens. No. And Lizzie walks in to see her cool lesbian roommate slurping away on our friend Monica's cousin's dick. The dick is gone. My lesbian cred is gone. And I didn't even get to see the orgasm that I was so interested in seeing. Spoiler alert, don't worry, I got to see plenty more as the years went on. But it was an important moment for me because it was the moment that I realized that I was, in fact, not just a left-handed softball player, but a switch hitter.
The end. Thank you, LA. Fabulous. I asked LA to share one of her poems with us. This is Rosé, an ode. Rosé is a lifestyle, every sip a miracle. Looking at this world through eyes veiled by peony petals. Rosé is peachy, juicy in her diamond chalice, and yet never preaching, much more subtle than a phallus. Rosé is perfect pink. Come to think, vaginas too. While our dewy flowers bloom, their balls just turn blue. Rosé is ambrosia, an old fable mother told you. But instead of some prince charming, suckling berries quite disarming, Rosé is resistance. Search the dark web, you will find the president has never sipped on her nectar so divine. Rosé is wild-like, stays up late, howls at mauve moons, sits with splayed legs on bare earth, beside queens in silk doubloons. You, like Rosé, are timeless, free from tyranny of night or day. Let forest nymphs on lyres proclaim, oui, bien sûr, yes way, Rosé. Thus concludes L.A. Marx's Ode to Rosé, and I'm pretty sure, pussies. I've been massively inspired lately and sleeping but a little. One of the outcomes of this is, for the first time, I've been sharing some of my poetry over on Instagram. Follow me there for saucy visuals and hot words at Horizontal with Lila. If you love lying down with us, subscribe to this show wherever you prefer to listen to it. And if you would value some guidance on your intimate life, check out my brand new coaching menu on horizontalwithlila.com and send me an inquiry to lila@horizontalwithlila.com. This quickie was mixed and mastered by Irving Gadori of igrecording.com. My cover art was illustrated by Shauna Shea, whom I hired on 99 Designs. My intro music is a remix by a cappella beatbox musician Kid Mental, whose motto is theme songs for everyone. Support a Black creator and get a jingle of your very own by hiring him on Fiverr or becoming his patron on Patreon. Until next time, horizontal lovers, may you have someone to love, something to do, and something to look forward to. I'm looking forward to being a guest on a very special masculine podcast created by one of Horizontal's guests. Can you guess who? Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for getting horizontal.
I thought these were all going to be coming out stories.